Should you move when you first retire? That's the question we're going to explore today. Hi, I'm Julianne Price with Life Edit and Design, and today we're talking about whether or not you should move. And this is a result of a conversation I had with my brother, who's getting ready to retire, and he's thinking about all the different aspects of it. And we had an interesting conversation, and I'm curious if this is a conversation you've had or that you've heard the same advice. And the advice he'd heard was, no, you should never move in those first couple of years of retirement. And I thought, that is so strange. That's so stupid. Why would you let, I shouldn't say stupid. I don't want to put judgment on him, but why would you let someone else advise you who doesn't know you? Why would you look at a statistic that says, oh, 8 out of 10 people are unhappy when they move? They don't know you. What about the 2 that were happy? You can't, I advise you not to take someone else's advice, somebody who doesn't know you, someone who doesn't know your situation. You're the only one who can make a decision as to whether or not moving in retirement, early retirement, is a good idea or not. And I'll give you a couple factors to think about. We'll talk about 4 main factors. But I can say for myself, I moved as I was retiring. So on my first official day of retirement, I think I'd been in my home maybe 5 days, my new home. So I didn't move towns as much as I moved homes. So there's a couple different things to think about when you are considering moving. Do you mean moving, leaving your entire geographic area, or do you mean moving from one home to another in the same general area that you know? So let's go through the 4 big tips to consider and make this decision for yourself. Do not let me, do not let a statistic, do not let somebody you talk to on the bus tell you. This is all about what's right for you. So the first thing as you move into retirement is lifestyle. I think that's the number one thing. So much is changing for you. And now you have all this time to pursue what you want. And I talk about all the time, energy is your currency in the second act. You need a lifestyle that will let you stay energetic and active. You have to move this body. If you don't, bad things will happen. So what environment do you need to be in for your lifestyle? Maybe your current town has enough different things to keep you active, but maybe you need to move somewhere where you can pursue climbing, running, hiking, swimming. Maybe you need to be somewhere where you can be outdoors more often. Maybe golf is your thing and you need to live somewhere warmer where you can golf more of the year. That's a very important factor, because if you're going to be sitting home because it's icy and cold outside and miserable, that's not a good thing. Your body needs to move. But if you're someone has always wanted to ski or snowshoe or cross-country ski, then yes, you can stay somewhere cold, but you need to take that into account. What's going to keep you active? Do you have enough great habits already built up, or are you looking to explore a passion that you can't do in your current region? This is, I think, the number one factor in my book. Again, this is me talking, but I offer it for your consideration. How are you going to stay active in retirement? That critical, number one thing. Second thing is your social network. And I'll relate to my brother in this story. So his social network was very much work-based. His friends are scattered all over the country because he's met them over the years and he's kept good relationships, but they've all dispersed around the country. And his family is not where he lives. So as he's moving into retirement, he's going to lose that social network of his colleagues and his work. That's just normal. It's going to happen. Yes, you'll stay in touch with a few people, but it's not the same. It's not the everyday connection. So for him, he's actually going to be very lonely and isolated, and that's his number one concern. Without the work network, without any friends close by, and without any family close by, there he is, alone in a house looking for things to do. And that would be my first consideration for him, would be, you need to move where you have a social network or where you can develop a social network. Why would you not move closer to family if that was an interest? So it is something he would like to do. It's something he's thought about. And the only thing preventing him is this advice that says you shouldn't do it. But they don't know you. The advisors don't know you. You could move closer to family, and then you'd have the start of a social network that would then allow you to find other friends, other interests, and start to meet new people. But where he is, he's going to be isolated once that work network goes away. And I thought that was so silly to listen to somebody else's advice. So I ask you, as you're thinking about retirement, will you lose too much of your social network? Or is there another network that you really haven't had a chance to dive into? Maybe it's through your faith, or maybe there's just some passions that you haven't been able to pursue that would bring you that social network. If your family is far away, do you want to move closer to them? If you have a great group of friends, but they're across the country, do you want to move there? Don't let somebody's strange advice that isn't related to you stop you from moving. So if you got to move your body and you have to have those social networks, you're living in isolation is not healthy, because everything will decline when you don't have the connection to a community, to people that care about you, that you can care about, that you can take care of. That's so important. And especially if you know your archetypes, this is one of the things I talk about, knowing your archetypes, those connectors and those nurturers. If you have those archetypes, and there's a quiz below you can take if you'd like to find out what your archetypes are. But for those people, you have to have a social network. You will just wither up and die if you don't have people that you can connect to. So knowing your archetypes will help you. Some of my introverts still feel like they have to have that social network, because you can be an introvert and be a nurturer and have to have people to care about. How are you going to do that if you're in isolation? So that's your second criteria. Your third one is finances. And I'm not a financial planner. I'm not planning to give you any financial advice, but do you live somewhere that is the best for you financially in retirement? What are the taxes like? How much are they going to take out of your retirement income? Do you want to move somewhere else? Are you paying a very high school tax and you're no longer benefiting from the school district? Where do you want to live? So this could be a regional move where you can move to somewhere in the same area, but with a lower property and school tax. Or you can be moving to another state that's more advantageous. I happen to live in New York, and we are probably one of the lowest places for people to move to in retirement because our taxes are terrible. I could move somewhere else and get a bump in my pension, so to speak, because I wouldn't be paying as much in taxes. But that's something to consider is, do you have to stay where you are from a financial perspective? Does it make the most sense, or could a slight move, again, not something maybe we're moving clearly across the country, but just a slight move to a different county could result in a benefit for you? Another thing to think about. And then the fourth thing is your needs. You're now going to be home all the time. Do you need a house as big as you have? More than likely, you are an empty nester, and probably you've paid for your house or pretty close to finishing off payment. So when you're looking at what you live in, could you live someplace simpler and not have as much, again, financial benefit, but also not have so much space? And what are your needs in retirement? So for me, when I moved, I knew I did not want to have any exterior maintenance. So finding a townhouse in a community where they mowed the lawn for you was top priority. Maybe you want to travel a lot, so you need that maintenance. You need somebody who's going to take care of the outside. Maybe you need someone who's going to clear your driveway, and you want a community where that's taken care of. Maybe your lifestyle is something where you want to be out walking the neighborhood, so your needs are to live in a community where it's safe and where there's plenty of space for you to walk around. Maybe you want to get a pet in retirement. I did a whole video on whether or not you should get a pet in retirement, but you might want an area that has a backyard, and currently you don't. Like, what are your needs? And speaking for my parents, they still live in a 5-bedroom house. There was no need for them to keep that house, and they did for a little while search for a house, but just never quite put all their effort into it. It was one of those, they wanted to move but didn't kind of want to move. But now they're stuck in a 5-bedroom house that they don't need, that is way too much for them to take care of. But they've set themselves up now that they have this burden. They have this huge lawn, all this landscaping. So financially it's draining, mentally it's draining, way too much stuff that they never downsized. And it's because they didn't really set themselves up for success in the later years. They have a 2-story house when they really need to be living on 1 story. Think about these things now as you're starting to make decisions as to where you want to live. What's going to serve you long term? Because now they're too stuck in their ways that the idea of moving is just too overwhelming for them, and they can't wrap their heads around it. And I feel bad because now they have this 5-bedroom monstrosity that is weighing them down, when they could have moved to a senior community and had friends and had a great environment to walk around in and had something so much simpler to take care of and no exterior maintenance. So what are your needs? Do you need all these extra bedrooms? Do you need formal dining? If you're not going to entertain, if those days are over, can you get something smaller that no longer is built around entertaining? If your kids are no longer going to be coming to live with you, do you need to have all these extra bedrooms? So think about what those needs are and balance that into these other factors that we talked about, your finances, your lifestyle, and your social network. So when you put those 4 together, it's time for you to really realize maybe moving is the right solution for you, because your current home may be lacking in some of those factors. But if your current home has all those factors, then by all means, stay. So I'm not telling you which way to go. I'm telling you to evaluate your situation, and don't let a statistic tell you, because again, there are exceptions to every statistic, and nobody knows you like you do, and no one knows your situation. And if your kids have moved across country, maybe it's time for you to move across country too. These are the factors you want to take in. Do you want to be around those grandkids when they're growing up? Of course you do. It's time to move. So I hope this has given you some great advice. And if you don't know what to do and you really want to think this through, that's what I do as a second act coach, is I help you evaluate. I don't tell you what to do. I just help you evaluate your options, because again, You are the only one who knows you, and you're the only one that knows what's the best for your retirement. But it's great to have someone to bounce things off of. So I have a quiz down below. You can take it. It'll give you those archetypes, and it'll also let you look at those energy areas, like what really energizes you. Because so many people walk into retirement and they just don't know what they want to do. And having the energy audit and having your archetypes will start to give you clues. So you get clues on where you want to live and also clues on what you want to do, who that new identity, who's the new you in retirement. So if that sounds exciting to you, fill out the quiz below and let's chat and let's see if we can find out what's the right solution for you, staying in your home or moving somewhere else. I look forward to talking to you and have an awesome day.